powered by Riverside.
We back, y'all.
Oh, shoot, my bad. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's another great episode of Live from the Bench. It's your boy GQ, a.k.a. L. Ray DeMangelo, joined today by Boulevard Omelette du Fromage.
Yeah, that's a temporary name. I had to go do some paperwork with my real one. So as of today, and for temporary reasons, my name is Omelette du Fromage.
And for temporary reasons, I got my arm in a pink sleeve. We won't talk about it.
Yes, we will. You should
We
definitely
will.
tell us. I mean, inquiring minds are going to want to know anyway. So you might as well just tell the story of how you broke your arm or whatever you did. Like a
Okay.
dumbass.
I am a football executive for a developmental professional football team here in the New Jersey. And I was helping a player with his coverage drills, and my arm was caught on his
I
body
have a
part.
suspicion he's trying to sound like me, but that's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, my arm got caught in a hyperextend of my elbow. So I put on this sleeve to help me, like, I don't know. I just know that sleeves help sometimes. So
Oh, come on, you can explain the story better than that. Tell them what you did.
So basically, I'm old as shit. I was running a route and I was cooking this young fella. I just so happened to beat this young fella on the route, but my arm, as I made my cut, my arm got caught on either his head or his arm or something, and the elbow went the wrong way. It went the wrong way, and it hurt. It hurt. And I didn't realize that I injured myself too bad until I tried to throw the football, and I felt like Brock Purdy did when they lost to the Eagles in the NFC Championship. So yeah, that was me. I'm too old for this shit, and that's probably the last day I'll be on the field itself. I will stay on the sideline from here on out.
Happens to all of us. We all get old.
That's everybody, when you're playing that sport, you playing any sport, you never know when that moment's gonna come where you decide that I'm never stepping on the field again.
Mm-hmm.
That was my moment. This was my moment. That was what was like, yeah, I'm not doing this ever again. I'm done.
Some people don't even get a choice.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. But hey, at least you got to get one last play in. And you was cooking them. Too bad you never hit the weights like you should have. That's why you fucked your arm up.
Listen, I blame you and Robert.
Well, I had other things to do in the 90s.
The other things you should have been doing in the 90s was helping your brother develop to be the talented beast that he is today.
Nah, I was in bed by 9 and home by 11. Sorry, no.
It took me a second, but I got it. Okay. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's been
so much time.
It's been a wonderful week. We reported a video last week. I know it was kind of a weird timeline. I'll take the blame for that. I was in Aruba with the family, so we couldn't put out the content on the regular schedule that we usually put it out on. So yeah, that's why you're probably looking like, oh man, where are these guys at? Yeah, we're delayed because of me. I mean, I just got back from Aruba. Yeah, Aruba. It was fun. There were certain moments that like really it's like, you know, that moment when you're like enjoying yourself for the day, and then when you get home, it's like one thing ruins it for just ruins the whole day. It was like that every single day we were there. It was just like, and it was, and I to the it wasn't my wife, it wasn't the kids that ruined it. It was just other variables that was there. So just ruined it, and it just for example, like they didn't have Uber or Lyft. They didn't have any type of delivery service. So we had to take taxis everywhere. And we called the taxi. They pulled up with a 12-passenger taxi van. And it was 7 of us. They had a 12-passenger van, and they said, you have to call a second taxi because we can only put 5 people in the taxi. And I'm like, it's 4 adults and 3 children. You can't fit us in this 12-passenger van. No, it's policy. And just having to do that every day to and from, it ruins it can ruin the whole vibe. Like, but I got to see some really cool stuff. I mean, I got to see peacocks walking around in front of me, chickens, lizards. I got to see a donkey with a broken back.
Well, that ain't cool.
I got to see a 12-foot alligator. It was a caiman. I got to see a bunch of capuchin monkeys. One tried to pull my daughter's finger off. And I was like, don't put your finger there. We got to feed the donkeys. Apparently, there's a difference between a donkey and a mule. I didn't know. Yeah.
I had no idea.
I got to feed camels. I got to find out. So there's like a breed of chicken. That's not a chicken, but it's a chicken. It's like really weird. I'm sorry, this is not sports related. It's different from the show. It's just something different. But it was like a chicken, but it was slender and it had like this slick back. It had the thing on his head slick back, and it was like a bright gold, and then just walked around like this all the time. Buck. Yeah, so
maybe we can find it and edit a picture in for them to see it later.
Yeah. If I can't find it, I mean, I blame the place that we saw this chicken at, if it was even chicken.
It's always their fault.
Aruba was fun. We got gelato every day, so yeah. I mean, you can never say no to gelato. You can never say no to gelato, man.
I guess.
Yeah. But anyway,
let's
get into what's important.
What is that?
The green machine that is the Philadelphia Eagles. And from what I understand, Boulevard has questions, and Boulevard likes to ask his questions, and GQ likes to put his spin on his answers, you know. So I think we should get right into it.
Okay.
After he has his questions, I have a couple stories, some sports stories from when I was serving in Afghanistan. So it'll be fun stuff.
All right. Give you something simple to start with. Three players the Eagles should look to trade for or away.
Okay. Trade away. Right off the bat, I'm going to say James Baldberry, because he's got the yips. I don't know if he's going to be able to get past that, but he's just, at this point, he's just taking up a roster spot, and he's going to essentially lose his roster spot to these young guys. I know they planned on moving him to safety, and then he got hurt. So if you can reach a settlement or trade him away, I would do it. He's a liability at this point. Also, another guy.
Would pick him up if his contract's not crazy.
Yeah, I don't think his contract's too crazy, but I mean, I remember they chose to pay him over CJGJ. So, I mean, I feel like he might be able to recover his talent of old. I just feel as though he might need to just be somewhere else to do it
He
because it's
definitely
not.
needs to be somewhere else.
Yeah, it's not gonna. If it's gonna come back, it's not gonna come back in Philadelphia. It's gonna come back somewhere else. Maybe he can go back to the Giants. But then again, when you used to be a Giant and then you come over to Philly, I guess people tend to hate you because you didn't suck dick or ass, even though they didn't make an offer to you. I guess that's what happens when you're a Giant. Like if you don't kiss the Giants' ass, they hate you after you leave. It's like the fourth or fifth guy that's come over to
Oh,
the
come on.
East.
So if an Eagle wins to the Giants, we wouldn't hold some hate for him.
I mean, yeah, we would
It's
hold.
only
I don't
right.
know.
Yeah,
I don't think so though.
This is a divisional thing. They right to be mad about Barkley leaving or Bradbury leaving. They right to be mad that they chose
But
Philly.
I don't
And
know. I
they
honestly
right
don't
to
know.
choose Philly because Philly's a better organization, especially compared to
True.
the Giants. The Wellington Mara and all of them, John Mara, whoever's running it now, Rooney Mara, I don't know. But the point they don't run a great operation.
No,
So
not at all.
why wouldn't someone who gets to see this opponent 2 times a year, gets to see how well they're operating, how consistently they're successful, say, hey, why can't I be on this organization like that? Especially when I'm stuck with this organization who makes stupid mistakes like drafting Daniel Jones and then trying to defend it in the press conference the next day without sounding like an idiot. And then after being proven to be an idiot, giving him more money. And now you're in the situation you are now. So why wouldn't someone who has the opportunity move on to a better organization?
Yeah.
Fans are right to be mad, but the players are right to leave. Be mad at the team, not our team. It's not our fault.
But I don't think we'd be as mad as the Giants were. I don't think Eagles fans would be as mad.
No,
because
if they went to the Cowboys, we'd be madder.
Yeah, Cowboys, yeah. Because nobody likes the Cowboys.
All right.
But just like it happens a lot. Like I remember Kenny Phillips left the Giants, came over to the Eagles. He didn't make it. He didn't make the final roster because he got hurt. But I just feel like if I feel as though if your team doesn't make an offer, then you have no right to be upset. Like this is 100% on the team.
So the team makes it clear they don't want you.
Yeah.
Why are you still there? Are you still around? Move on.
Yeah.
And that's what these players did.
Yeah. My second person, we're going to stick to the secondary, Avonte Maddox.
Why?
Because I feel like Avonte Maddox, even though I feel like he's a talented, he shows like we already seen that like even though we do see him make mistakes and he does get burnt quite often, but there's like you notice when he's not on the field. We've noticed that when he's not on the field, we see things, people get beat. And I think that's just that's something you want to chalk that up to their DB depth because they haven't really had anybody behind Avonte Maddox that could step up and play that spot for a very long time. But I feel like now with the addition of Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, I think you finally have that depth at that slot position because those guys can play that slot that can actually like make a difference if somebody like Avonte Maddox. And I feel like right now Avonte Maddox is basically biding time because they usually keep about 5 to 6 corners on the roster, and you're looking at Slay. Now let's say they keep Bradbury. You got Slay, Bradbury, DeJean, Mitchell, Ringo, Rex, and there's somebody else. They probably won't keep all those guys, but like you're not going to go with 7 corners. I don't see that happening. So I feel like one of those guys, either Maddox or Mitchell will be gone. I don't think I don't think they're gonna let Ricks go because he's young and you could still get something out of him, especially from a developmental. And I think that's what Philly needs to do. They need to develop their younger guys instead of trying to get these old guys to come in because they're just not going to give you what you need. So, yeah, I think this is Avonte Maddox's time, and I think you trade him away if you can get a 4th, 5th, or 6th. Don't accept anything less than that. So, yeah, I don't know how you feel about Avonte Maddox, but
I always thought he just seemed like a solid role player for off the bench. And it's not, wherever he was needed, whenever he was called on. He wasn't too much of a liability, but yeah, eventually you got to move on from what's already been, especially since it's gotten as far as you're going to get out of Maddox, as far as you're going to get out of Bradbury. So yeah, I can see where it's time to move on from them. Who's your number 3? You can remember you can trade for a player or two.
So now I'm not trading anybody away at this point. Now, what I'm going to do, so probably a lot of people are going to dislike this, but I feel like we're still weak at that slot receiver position. So I'm trading for.
Wait, you don't think John Ross is the guy?
No, I don't. I don't think John Ross is the guy. I think he has had. Yeah, I think he's got the deep threat. He's a solid deep threat, but you want a slot receiver who's going to catch the ball all the time. Like you want somebody who's a threat in the slot, and he doesn't pose that threat for me unless you want to throw a seam route down the middle. I don't know how that works. Somebody like him. So I'd say give me a Hunter Renfrow or give me a solid guy whose job was basically just catching balls across the middle. I'd even say give me like a Adam Thielen. Let him age. He's aging out, but he's a short-handed guy who can probably play some slot. He's a bigger guy. I'd say give me a slot receiver. So I'm going after any solid, not too old, but you're probably going to get an older guy, but somebody that I'd say Hunter Renfrow.
That's probably better than John Ross at least. It's an improvement on what's there. I mean, it seems like they're really hoping that one of these rookies just steps up. There's opportunities there for any of them. They don't have much in front of them as far as John Ross and whoever else. Paris Campbell. So it's opportunities there for one of these rookies. If it's Aeneas or if it's what's the name, Johnny,
is it Wilson?
Wilson, yeah. If one of the opportunities there for them. They just had to show more consistency than John Ross, which shouldn't be hard.
I think this is definitely out of those rookies because you got Johnny Wilson and then Anonymous Smith, whatever his name is. I think this is Johnny Wilson's time to basically go off, because you're a guy you look at the tight end position. I'm not confident in Awuzie or whatever. What's his name? Azuma. I'm not really a big Azuma guy. So when you got a guy like Johnny Wilson, I feel like he can be that person that steps into both slots, both positions with
slots.
Yeah. He'd be a slot guy, and then you got when you go into that, he's just because of the size, 6'7". What was he? 237, 6'7", 237.
240, yeah.
He's that receiver that you can do with him what the Falcons failed to do with Kyle Pitts.
Move him around, make him a matchup.
Yes. Because Kyle Pitts was 6'4", 240. John Wilson gives you that basketball, that jump ball, that like I like the pick. Them picking him up at all was just like, wow. I like it. So
it was more on everybody else fucking up and not picking him up.
Yeah.
He was there for the Eagles to take. All right. What was my next question? Most surprising cuts you expect this year?
The cut, somebody who I think will get cut this year. I think Mekhi Becton's going to be the surprise cut. I feel like he's not going to make the roster, and that's insane to me. But I feel like he's not. I'm super.
Would be a surprise.
I'm because I feel like he's definitely loads better than Tyler Steen. But I feel as though being that Tyler Steen is like in his second year, Mekhi Becton's like third and fourth. I feel as though they probably see more upside in Tyler Steen, who hasn't been injured much, as opposed to Mekhi Becton, who's been injured a lot. So I can see them saying, no thanks, Mekhi, and letting him go because they probably got more to lose by keeping him than letting Steen sit behind him. But that would just be my surprise cut.
Situations. But yeah, that would be a surprise cut in my eyes. I mean, he's not making much this season, but it's all guaranteed. So it's like $2 million or so, little $3 million. So it ain't bad, but I mean, that one I can't see happening. It would truly be a surprise. I don't see him or really Steen or probably it would be probably some lower level linemen that would be getting picked off this year. Because there's still a lot of upside with Mekhi that we haven't seen yet because the Jets run shit the way the Jets run shit. If anybody I would see getting cut, it would be like LaRaven Clark or somebody along those lines.
Oh, he gets cut all the time.
Those players. Those players are gone. Those are just body guys. So I think pretty much the top 6 or 7 of the O-line count is pretty set.
Yeah.
Like, Steen is going to be in there somewhere. And, Becton, just on what he's already shown, should be out there somewhere. The Steen, but that's why there's competition, I guess.
Yeah.
My money's on Becton winning that position outright.
I hope so. But I think if I'm going to add if I would say another cut, I feel as though if Wilson or Smith take off, I think John Ross will get cut. Because I don't really see the upside in keeping John Ross. He's probably not as fast as he was. He's
right,
and he has always had problems dropping the ball. So if Johnny Wilson comes out there and does what he does, and Benaiah Smith comes out and does what he does, they're not going to let go of Britton Covey because Britton Covey, like John Ross, has to figure out who he is. He has to figure
Britton Covey would have been my pick for cut. I was thinking him, Calcaterra, and somebody else. In the story.
I can see Calcaterra didn't show me anything. Like he was supposed to be that number 2 when he was supposed to be the guy that stepped up when Ertz left, and then Calcaterra got taken like every time. It was what's the old guy name? The tight end they used to play Rodgers. He came in, was just like, no. And then that other guy, it's just Dan Arnold. He just kept getting overstepped, and it's just like Calcaterra show me something. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Calcaterra said goodbye to this team this year because you got Uzama, you got Johnny Wilson, and if you're smart, you use that. Then you got depth open. Calcaterra hasn't shown me anything to me to be confident enough to keep him.
Right. Same. Agreed. All right. Who's the most important rookie on the Eagles?
The most important Eagle on the Eagles team. It's gotta be Cooper DeJean. It's got to be Cooper DeJean because Cooper DeJean is likely the one that's going to fill in that slot position. I feel like you'll see a lot of Quinion Mitchell and Keely Ringo playing that outside corner spot. Quinion Mitchell's going to be the guy in the slot. So I feel like he is stepping into that position immediately. I feel like he's stepping in. If the Eagles trade or let go of Avonte Maddox, Cooper DeJean is stepping into that position immediately. And that means that everything is going to be on him. The onus is going to be on him. I think he's the most important rookie on the team.
Wait, which one is?
Huh? Cooper.
Cooper, okay.
Slim Shady.
Right. Is he going to be in the slot?
Yes.
All right. Oh, I got confused there. I'm kind of baked over here. All right. Mostly don't disagree, but I mean, I would say maybe honorable mention Will Shipley because he's coming for Gainwell's reps. And what he could substantially improve us and give us more matchup options, and that's always a plus if we use it right.
You know, now that you mentioned Will Shipley, this will probably piss off a lot of Eagles fans. If Will Shipley comes in and he does exactly what I think he's going to do, I would not be too shocked if Kenny Gainwell is going next year.
I don't think any of us would be at this point. I mean, he's got his fans, but
yeah, because Gainwell hasn't really done enough for me to be like, keep him. You got to keep him. You got to keep him.
Right. He's not.
Yeah. And I think the only reason why we're like, we got to keep him now is because Boston Scott's going. And there's nobody behind Saquon right now. But the thing with Gainwell is when Swift left, Gainwell, it was your time to show us something. You didn't show us anything. Now we had to go out and get somebody else. We had to spend the money to go out and get somebody else.
The fans were rooting for Gainwell. Like I remember when he was,
yeah.
I remember everybody was hyped up about Gainwell and what he could be as it's a change of pace. But I'm sure over time everybody came to realize he was just a guy.
Yeah, and he's just a guy. And I feel like Will Shipley's not just a guy. No. I feel like Will Shipley's going to bring you. And listen, if it comes back and it's not what it is, but I feel like Will Shipley can give you a little bit of what CMC gives you.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm wrong, hit me up later. Let me know how stupid I sound.
I'm just saying, if boy route running is like that, Shipley's, I would have no problem trying him out at slot.
Yeah.
No, why not? Everybody talks about his hands, his catching. I mean, maybe his route running can be improved. I'm sure it can be worked on. Why not? What you got to lose at this point?
So I think the best thing for Gainwell is to bulk up if you want to keep that spot, because then again, you look that right there, that short yardage back. We don't have that. We haven't had it in a while, and you don't want to put Saquon in that position too often. So who's going to be your short yardage? Fucking the guy who's going to, because we already know Kelsey's gone, and they're still going to try to run that tush push. Who's going to be the guy that fucking runs their helmet through Jalen Hurts' back? Because I tell you, I won't want Saquon running his head through Hurts' back, because you're gonna hurt Jalen. So listen, I like to see Gainwell get his flowers, but you got to earn them first. He hasn't shown
the strongest backfield in the football.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan. I was always a big fan of Gainwell, but if you don't show me something, I have to let that shit go. Because like guys that I was fans of, I was a fan of Hank Baskett. Didn't show us anything. I was a fan of Jordan Matthews, the receiver. Didn't show me anything. I was a fan of Ryan Moats when he was the running back. I was hopeful. He didn't show us anything. and it
You
comes
had a
from
lot of disappointment in your life.
yeah.
Then.
I had a
Damn.
lot of disappointment, like people
God,
that I
damn.
wanted to see actually do something, and then like I'm like, you can do it. Like I remember Billy freaking Mullen. He was like a
Oh no,
guy.
not Billy McMullen.
He was like
Oh,
hands all day, but he couldn't run and he couldn't run a route to save his life. He was
what
just
a disappointment bull.
so it was just like I don't know.
He'd have been a star in the XFL.
So I guess like yeah.
Mm.
I think the rookies. I think this is like a year for the Eagles where the rookies come out and play, which is like that's not really a normal year. Like those first year and second year guys. I feel like this year we're gonna see something that's gonna like really take us by storm. And that whole remember last week's episode is how we Roseman the Genius. We put that to the test this year because I feel like this year the rookies actually come out and play. And that question is going to be answered.
I'm going to say this. I've been kind of on the fence about Roseman. I'm almost buying the hype at this point. I'm believing what I'm seeing, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. So, yeah, I'm Team Howie right now, and that's a big deal. All right.
But did you hear about Nakobe Dean?
No.
Nakobe Dean in camp was they had him listed behind Zach Bond.
Ha!
Because he wasn't impressing anybody. That's somebody I might you want to put as if I want to do honorable mentions of a cut. Nakobe Dean.
Well, hell, I had one. Yeah, I'll take that one. Nakobe Dean might be cut.
Yeah,
I can see they have reason. He, like you said, he hasn't proven anything. What's this year 3? So, hey, he's got to step up at some point. Now he's got actual competition for his spot.
You got a special teamer taking your spot.
Yeah, I got to take my meds.
Damn, I hear that. All right, what we got for our next question?
Most important player on offense and defense this season.
So I'm gonna go away from the obvious answers.
Yes, please do.
I'm not gonna say
Jalen Hurts.
I'm not gonna say Jalen Hurts. Would it be obviously Saquon? No, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna say Saquon. I think the most important, and this is gonna be a weird one. I think the most. I got 2. It's either gonna be Cam Jurgens, him stepping into that center role full time. He's got a lot on his shoulders, and I don't think anybody really like you talk about how great Kelsey was. Like we're always talking about how great Jason Kelsey was. And this is our first year without him. Cam Jurgens is in a position where like a lot of pressure is on him. So him succeeding really sets a bar. In case Kelsey set a bar really high, that's like really hard for him to even like get there. So him just doing good enough and not making mistakes, that's like major. And then I think my other thing, the most important, because I feel like the defense, I think the most important person on the defense is going to be Reed Blankenship.
Really?
I feel like he is now in a position where there is no excuse if anybody's getting beat and it happens to be him, there's no excuse. So at this point you can't make any excuses because when they tend to say like, oh, I ain't had no help, I ain't have help, you got help, you got help. They brought CJ GJ back. He is a difference maker. So you got it. And you got a solid corner in Dejan, Quinion, Ringo, because I'm real high up on him. Eagles went out and they tried to make a lot of moves at that defensive line position, bringing people in. I'm not sure how well it's going to work out, but it's still enough to sit there and say, hey, there's no excuse because you got a guy. You ain't got to worry about CJGJ. Right. You ain't got to worry about Johnson. So I think he's probably in like the most pivotal position on that defense. He's got to earn his captain patch. Also, that slot receiver position as well. Because I think that position, the slot receiver position, is probably the most important because if they don't figure that out, it's going to be the biggest weakness on that team.
Right.
And then, because like here the thing is, you got Tyler Steen playing that right guard or Mekhi Becton, who never played guard before. So you've got a weakness there. And for me to say that the slot receiver position with a receiver like John Ross, who's played 7 years maybe, for me to sit here and say that Tyler Steen or Mekhi Becton new to the position is less important than John Ross succeeding. It's because like that slot receiver position has been a weakness for a very long time. And I hate to say it, Eagles have not had a solid slot receiver. Oh my God, Boulevard, you're going to hate this. Philadelphia has not had a solid slot receiver since Carson Welch was the receivers coach and Nelson Aguilar was the Eagles slot receiver.
That's gross.
Yeah. But we haven't had somebody who succeeded in the slot since then.
Please, somebody comment and tell me we had a better receiver since then in the slot, because that's nasty. That is a nasty proposition there.
Yeah.
All right. That's it with the Eagles question. Now we're going to step a little outside to the league as a whole. First up, what team will shock the league this season? Who's this year's Houston Texans, basically?
This year's Houston Texans. You know what? I'm going to say Arizona Cardinals.
Ew.
I'm going to say Arizona. No. Arizona Cardinals, yeah. Let's go.
What you got?
Let's go with the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay.
I feel like they had somebody like Michael Wilson really coming into his own at receiver. Cardinals haven't really had that since D-Hop and Larry Fitz went away, and now for the first time in like since Larry Fitz and Anquan was both of his receivers. Now I feel like you got Marv, you got MJ, and you got Michael Wilson. A solid 1-2 punch, not crazy, but a solid 1-2 punch. Like they're not small guys. They can play receiver. Now, the only issue is it's Kyler Murray. And I like this all the time. I say that like these short guys, 5'10", they're playing out of their element because I feel it just gets to that point where like when the pressure gets there, if you have to contort your body to throw a pass, and when you're that short, you have to do that. It can't end well. And then when you have no choice but to throw those passes,
Oh, go on.
Yeah, and it's just like when they gotta roll out just to set your feet, it overexposes your quarterback. And I feel like Bryce Young and Kyler have to do that a lot. And I feel like you overexpose yourself as a quarterback. And once you go out the pocket, you can't. It's really hard to justify a roughing penalty. Because when you roll out them hashes, when you roll out the pocket, that roughing the passer penalty is few and far between because once you go out that hash, once you leave that pocket, you consider the runner to an extent.
Right.
So, and you got guys like Bryce and Kyler, they're small. Bryce has already showed that he get injured. Kyler gets injured a lot, and he don't like to do film. He's like stuck playing video games, which is always going to be a red flag for the rest of my life. For the rest of his career,
He's the guy who was just in virtual reality 20 minutes ago.
Listen, I'm not supposed to do anything else. I'm not supposed to be watching film. All right, maybe I am, but who cares?
Always time to watch film. Never a bad time.
But I think if the car, and I hate it, yeah, the Cardinals, they're my surprise team. They're gonna shock us because they're gonna be better. They're gonna improve. So, because I wanted to say Detroit, but they're not gonna shock us. We know that Detroit
be a shock.
Yeah, that ain't gonna be a shock because you know that they're good.
Would Atlanta be a shock?
No, I don't think Atlanta's gonna be good. I feel like Atlanta's gonna regress. Regress.
Would the Redskins be a shock?
The Redskins would be a shock. And if they happen to land freaking Ayuk, the game set.
Yeah. Now the Cowboys are in trouble if they get Ayuk.
Yeah.
The Cowboys should be in trouble anyway.
Yeah, I feel like the Cowboys are gonna regress. I feel like the Falcons are gonna regress. I feel like the Falcons are gonna regress. And
Pittsburgh. There's a shock the league team. There you go.
You know what that guy said. The guy always say, when you got two quarterbacks, you have none.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I'm not too high on the Steelers this year.
Well, neither am I. That's why they would shock the league.
Okay. That makes sense now.
Well, at least it would shock me because they don't look like they're going to do much, and they putting Tomlin, his record of consistency on the line. They really testing that shit this year. So
this actually, now you brought up the Steelers, and it actually goes back to a question you asked. If the Steelers start off, let's say 3-3 or 2-4, I think Howie Roseman needs to get on the phone and try to bring us George Pickens.
Ooh. I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah. I tried that.
If he could pick up a receiver to the caliber of Pickens and, as our number 3 option, I'd probably have to kiss the ring at that point. Okay, I was wrong. Yeah. I'd have to own up to that shit at that point.
Yeah, because Pickens is still on that young contract. He's gonna want to play for a team that's a winner, and I feel like Philly's gonna be a contender for a while. Even though they collapsed at the end of the year last year, they feel like they were collapsing all year, but I feel like they're still. Yeah, I'm not gonna get. Yeah, I feel like that would be a nice thing for Pick.
Yeah. Right. Okay. See, I didn't know how to put these together, so I'm just going to I'm going to do this backwards. Are the Texans Super Bowl contenders?
I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders yet. I think there's way too much talent in the AFC to just.
How many AFC they're going to be teams do you have better than them?
The Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them beating the Ravens.
Chiefs.
I don't see them beating the Chiefs. Yeah.
So they'd be the third best team in the conference, you'd say?
Yeah, because I don't see anybody else really. Let me just make
Indianapolis.
Yeah, because I feel like the Bills are about to start. We're about to like see the Bills downward
Dolphins?
spiral. Dolphins, they're about to be exposed this year because they're just one dimensional as hell. It's just one dimensional as hell. Oh my
Yeah,
god!
somebody could figure them out. I mean, it
Yeah,
is just a matter of time. Somebody will figure them out. All right. Might even be the Patriots. I don't know. But yeah,
well,
next question. Who's the Raiders QB? Let me go
Gardner
get this
Minshew.
list. Think so?
I think you haven't like you got to be smart about it. He's a guy. I think his win loss record is fairly decent enough. Not like he's winning a lot, but he's not losing a lot. He's like, and he's not out there losing games for the team. He's like keeping them in it, keeping the teams relevant. And I don't know. I can't look at AOC as my starter, and I don't know who else they got.
He wasn't bad last year. He was
No, he
adequate.
wasn't bad, but I feel like anybody that looks like Dominic Mysterio is like he has this mustache and it bothers me, and I feel like that's not the face of a quarterback.
What about Gardner mustache? What about Gardner Minshew's mustache? Did we forget
That's
that
the face
happened?
of a quarterback. He looked like Uncle Rico.
That
Uncle Rico was the GOAT.
Shout out to
Best
John
damn
Green.
quarterback.
You know, he was like the dude that worked with Martin on Martin at the radio station. That
Yeah,
was Uncle Rico. Yeah.
Uncle
Most people
Rico.
ain't figure that out. So yeah. Oh, I'd say Aiden O'Connell because I never bought the hype on Gardner Minshew. That seemed like insanity or some bullshit kind of thing. Flash in the pan, 15 minutes of fame, then the clock hits midnight and we're back to reality.
Yeah.
He's an okay quarterback, but there's no upside there. Aiden O'Connell, we haven't seen his best yet. He hasn't even, as far as I can tell, this is his first full off season, like mini camps and all training camps and all that. Hey, we don't know what AOC could be yet. Like this AOC, not the hot AOC. We don't know what this guy will be. I'm going to lean towards what could be because the Raiders look like they could be the team that shocks people realistically. And they're all falling behind that coach, Pierce. We all know Pierce is a fucking nut job. So, all right.
I feel like if Pierce does what he wants it, like he gets it the way he wants it, we have that solid defense. That's what he needs.
Mm-hmm.
As long as the defense is right,
mm-hmm.
I don't care how the quarterback leaves. As long as the quarterback not losing the game for you.
Right.
You can have Barney the dinosaur as their quarterback. As long as the defense is performing, he's not turning the ball over. I'm just not sold on Aiden O'Connell yet because he didn't keep his job.
That's true.
And the thing is, I feel like we're gonna see. I feel like we're gonna see at least 2 or 3 different starters at quarterback this season.
Seems possible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they can start out the gate bad, then they're going to have a controversy by week 3. So,
yeah,
seems legit.
Put in Donovan McNabb. They're probably going to have to bring Jamarcus Russell back from retirement.
Yo, that boy full. That boy whole full.
We'll get into that one of these days.
Yeah. They know what he did. They know he stole a $74,000 check that was meant to go to a weight room for a high school team he was a volunteer coach for. Scumbag of the week.
Scumbag of the week. Should be a thing.
Yeah. I think we covered that already. There we go. We covered that. All right. Now back to this contract nonsense. I had wrote like something about Dak, the possibility of Dak getting $60 million from Dallas, or is it more likely he ends up at the Giants, the Jets, or the Saints?
I don't think he leaves the Cowboys.
Hmm.
I don't think he's going to get his money, but I don't see him leaving the Cowboys.
Hmm.
I just can't picture Dak in another uniform. But again, I probably didn't expect to see Aaron Rodgers in another uniform.
Hey, stranger things that happened. Marino.
You said the Saints, Giants, Jets, Saints.
Giants, Jets, Saints. I meant to say Montana when I said Marino. Y'all know.
Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
maybe the Raiders next year.
Ooh, that's a possibility. I like that. I mean, that means the Raiders ain't going to do shit, but that ain't my concern. Whatever team picks them up or gives them the money sets themselves up for failure for 5 years, guaranteed.
For a lot of money, too.
Mm-hmm. Like, y'all know y'all just going to miss it by that much every year. All right. My next
will be on the Broncos next year.
Mm-hmm. Those, that team coming off 2 wins, they're going to be shit. All right. 50 mil for Tua from Miami?
Hell no. No. Not at all.
It's like I always say, teams should just let it go when they know it's not the guy. This would be the example right here.
Yeah.
So if they know that he's not going to get them any further, and they've given him all the weapons a quarterback could ask for, and he still can only get them so far, isn't that the same thing as like the Jared Goff with the Lions situation, where they had to go swap for a better quarterback to have any chance of success? So why not just go ahead, skip that whole trade, and just go ahead, move Tua on, or bring him back at a lesser salary, because 50 mil would be, you'd be out of your damn mind. Invest like 50 mil, 5 years, 250 mil in him when you've already seen his best. Like, that's what he's going to be. That's where he's going to get you. Close, but not there.
I let him hit the free agent market and see him not get paid. And then I'll go back to Miami for 25, 30 mil.
Somebody would pay him. Somebody always pays the mid-tier quarterbacks. That's why they're so overpaid now. But
it would have to be a team that doesn't have a quarterback and didn't draft one.
Yeah, there's plenty of them out there. There's always a need for quarterbacks.
I think Raiders, Titans.
You don't think Levis is going to do anything?
No. I think they're going to screw Levis. I think they're going to screw Levis and Nash. They'll screw him. Just like he did Giudice.
Huh. I know that name. I get that reference.
Twitter, what have you become?
Right? Walking memes over here. All right, so you don't think so with Tua?
No. I wouldn't pay him.
Okay, here we go. Separate salary caps for quarterbacks has been discussed. I don't know why, but what do you think of it?
I'm not interested in it. I'm not interested in it at all. I don't see the benefit of it. I feel like it's just an excuse for GMs and owners to continue to mismanage salary caps. Because if you do that, I feel like if you start doing that, then you're going to be like, all right, well, now we need to set up money for like big time receivers, because it's going to get to a point where some guys in other positions like, oh, well, I deserve this, 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 and this. And you're going to be like, well, maybe we should have
2 years from a receiver making $35 million a season.
Yeah. So I don't think that should be, I think the NFL's got to nip that in the bud. I don't think it's a good idea. You don't, if you want to, and I keep bringing up this idea. If you feel like you want to pay quarterbacks more than money, more than what the salary cap allows, and you feel like you need to add, then make these billionaire owners pay them out of pocket. Pay them out of pocket. Fuck it. Listen, because it's either one. They're gonna do it anyway. They're gonna find a way to do it. They'll find a way.
Man, they're already doing it now.
Yeah, I would not be surprised.
Quarterbacks are out here getting what? What did Mahomes get? 350. Like what? Lamar Jackson get like 250 plus. Like these contracts are ridiculous.
Yeah.
These guarantees are ridiculous for that matter.
I don't even know how it works because I'm looking at it like, wait a minute, ain't the salary cap?
You're not going to overpay Kirk Cousins or go, for example, give $60 million to Dak or whatever they gave to Josh Allen. Like overpay for these mid-tier quarterbacks, and they're like, oh, we got to find a way to justify this shit. So let's just say their salaries are separate, and we can throw whatever ridiculous amounts of money at them because they're quarterbacks. So now it's not like every quarterback that gets signed, regardless of past successes or potential shown, has to break $50 million or come close to some annual salary that's just absurd for what you're getting on the field.
Yeah.
There are certain quarterbacks out there that should be getting, let's say, okay, so you got good quarterbacks. You got the best quarterbacks. They should be making the most, correct?
Correct.
Next tier should be making next tier money. Mid-tier quarterbacks should not be making as much as the top tier.
Daniel Jones.
Just because they're next.
Right.
It don't work that way. You haven't earned what they've earned. Like, what are you going to do? Go to free agency? Fine. Go to fucking free agency. Reality's going to kick in. That's not your value. That's his value. The fact that there are general managers out there that are reckless enough to go sign these fucking quarterbacks to these ridiculous contracts, get the same results they've been getting, and then stand there like, I don't know what happened. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Right.
No, there shouldn't be a separate fucking salary cap. They should use better goddamn judgment. That's what needs to happen. Stop being ridiculous with this contract just because you can. That doesn't guarantee you success. That doesn't guarantee either one of you job security. That just potentially puts your team in a hole 2 years down the line. Now what are you going to do? And you still got to start over. So what are you doing?
Facts.
It's stupid behavior. And any GM that overpays to that extreme deserves to lose their jobs because they definitely just banished their team to the nether realm for a few seasons. So, no, there should not be a salary cap. There should be better judgment. There should be GMs that use smarter fucking instincts. Don't just try to do what the next man do because the next man ain't winning. So,
yeah, I agree.
Maybe you're going to do this, then you got to do it for every position.
Facts.
Now you got defensive ends, edge rushers, completely outgaining the dude that's eating the blocks for them. That's already the case, but it will go to just another further extreme where one salary would start dropping and another one would start rising. No, we already did that to running backs. You start doing these salary caps for specific positions, and that's the way it goes. If you do it for one, it's going to end up for all of them. Now you're going to have wage gaps, and you don't want that. You don't want that. You don't want those problems. So don't get off the nonsense. Snap back to reality. General managers need to start using fucking sense. That's all that needs to change. Daniel Jones should not be making the extremes that he makes, and that GM kept his job as long as he did. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Okay. I think that's all I have for questions.
All right. Well, this episode ran longer than I thought it was going to run.
No, it's not as long as that because remember it was recording for like 15 minutes before we even started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else do we have?
We got Team USA football getting their asses handed to them by other countries, if that was even possible. Yeah, they lost to Japan 41-20, the under-20 World Cup, and then turned around and lost to Austria 32-25. How? It's football. That doesn't make sense. That's what we do. It's what only we do. They're following what we're doing. They should still be 20 years behind us.
Yeah.
Jeez. Should be dream teaming all over teams, beating them 63-3 every game. It just doesn't make sense. We shouldn't even have lost in the past to Canada. We've lost this tournament to Canada. We lost to Japan. We've lost to Austria. In football, what we should do better than every other country, especially under 20. You can go like, hello, IMG Academy. Hey, you want to go do the International Federation of Football under 20 World Cup tournament? There you go. Now we won. That's simple. But they out there with like 3 stars and undrafted and walk-ons. That's what they had out there. We got the best football players in the world, and they're out there with walk-ons. They got an ambidextrous quarterback that can throw with 2 hands. I bet he can't throw well with either. He's a walk-on at Florida Atlantic. At Florida Atlantic. That's a quarterback. Like, this is the best you could find in this entire country. They didn't look very hard.
They didn't look very hard at all.
I mean, come on, you could have looked up here and found a better team than what you put on that field. Right? So it's absurd. Again, some general manager failed to do their job, and their team suffered because of it. But whatever that team is, y'all need to blow it up, start over. Go get an extra stars. Go get the 5 stars.
Listen, if I win a championship,
they like money now, so pay the 5 stars.
Facts.
There you go. Go pay the damn stars.
Facts.
Hell, I know him. Go get Arch Manning. Shit. He ain't doing nothing but riding the pine anyway. You don't think he could have been more of a fucking use than a quarterback whose best skills? He can do it with his left and his right. Wow.
What the hell is the name?
Hey, come on. Like that, it's cutesy and all, but that's not going to win you games.
It ain't.
Win you games is having a dominant team. Like you went in there and you lost to Japan. You lost to Austria. That's pathetic. All of you kids out there, I'm going to read all of your names off just for shits and giggles now. Because I'm that spiteful a fucking person, okay? You just disrespected this entire country. Damn. Jaden Alston, Aliam Epler, Brett Armstrong, Marvin Brown, Carlo Bizzato, Jacob Cabrera, Diego Coleman, Charlie Cottrell, Davion Dixon, Leighton Duncan, Michael Gow, that's the ambidextrous guy, Easton Hood, Cameron Jackson, Robins, Gene Baptiste, Bryce Johnson, Matt John, Keon Kenner, Joseph Lee Brandt, Anthony Luna, Hunter McGarry, George Milcap. Yeah, all of you. You know you were there. I ain't reading the rest of that. Y'all fucking suck. Y'all are a disappointment to your goddamn country. Okay? And I don't mean like the red hats. I don't mean them. I mean the real ones. You're a disappointment. You let us down because you failed at the one thing we should be best at. Shame on you. I was going to hit the bench right there. That would have been perfect, but whatever.
Well, I think that's all we have for today.
All right. So don't forget to edit this because I was inhaling green things earlier in the episode.
Oh, I'm not doing any of that. I'm going to keep it all in. YouTube is going to hit us with the guideline violations, and I'm for it.
Best episode at that.
But guess what, everybody? We support the green over here, not just the Kelly green, but the green. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Team USA lost their football team. We have to figure that out. And I say that to say this. We can't all be starters. Neither can the guys on the U20 football team. But Boulevard
They
can
ain't
tell
stopping
them.
nowhere.
Boulevard knows exactly what they all can do. Let them know. My arm hurts.
I think I might be Jesus.
Hit the bench.